Today on the Hobby Bench, I'll be talking about varnishing your minis. So you've got your miniature there, you've finished up painting them, you've washed it and done all the things that you wanted to do, get the highlights on, etc., worked on the base. Everything's done and you're ready to go. Well, you need to varnish it. There are oils on your fingers, also just the wear and tear of handling a miniature and knocking into things, etc. You know, that paint job that you did, it's going to get eventually ruined if you don't varnish your mini, if you don't do something to protect it. And so that's why you use varnish. It's just a clear protective coat to basically protect your paint job and make sure that the paint that you put on there stays on there and doesn't get worn off through handling and through use. So what kind of varnish to use? I recommend using spray varnish. And there's lots of different brands you can get. I sort of like Krylon, for example. This is a really good one. It's a really good artistic medium to use. I also recommend that you get matte finish. Now, you could maybe go through extra coats. Some folks use a glossy varnish, and then they'll like cover it up against it with a matte finish. If you use a gloss varnish, it's going to be shiny and it's going to be reflective. Sometimes you want that type of effect, but typically, really for a lot of these miniatures, to give it more of a natural look, you want to have a matte finish. So I prefer using, Krylon's a good brand. You can buy some other brands, you can get at art stores. There's definitely some high-end, expensive hobby ones that you can buy, but you know, Krylon's a pretty good brand, so I recommend that. One key thing about varnishing your miniatures is you need to do this on a day with low humidity. If you varnish on a day of high humidity, what's going to happen is it's going to pick up the moisture in the air and you are going to get a misting of your figure. You're going to get like this gray, white dusting over your figure and it's going to look horrible. That gray paint job you have is going to be ruined. Now, can you fix it? Well, it's possible. And the best way to do it, honestly, is just to give it another coat, wait for a day where it's dried out, give it like a coat or two, and usually that will try to clear it up pretty well. But the best way of doing that is just avoid it completely. So for sure, when you're doing varnishing, you want to make sure it's relatively not too cold, but definitely want to make sure you do it on days of low humidity. Now, another alternative that you can use are brush-on varnishes. And this is one that I have from Vallejo I use. It's a matte varnish. There's also a little gloss varnish I have too from Army Painter. And so you can use these too. Basically, you just sort of shake them up. You can thin them out a little bit and sort of apply it like you would a paint. And this can also work. They're also sort of designed a little bit maybe to go on for the airbrush. I've used these before. Even the matte varnish, it's pretty good. It can leave a little touch of glossiness maybe for this specific varnish, but for the overall, it's pretty good. It's not really that shiny of that sort. Sometimes this gloss varnish can help out with, depending on what you're painting, and give you some certain effects. You know, I have for my Captain America here, I've done him with a matte varnish and I went through, but then I went back and did his shield with a gloss varnish, and you can barely see it here, but you can see here how this is sort of flat here on his head, but you can sort of see a reflective shine from his shield, and I wanted to get that effect, so that's why I ended up using a gloss varnish on it. As for varnishing itself, you know, just sort of like when you're doing priming or regular painting, I usually mount them on paint sticks, and you want to give a good even coat, not too far away, not too close, maybe about 8-10 inches or so, and really make sure you try to get it all over the entire surface, and just do a couple multiple coats. Also for your varnish, another thing also is that for your flock and stuff, it'll also help protect and seal that a little bit too. So not only will you be getting the miniature and getting that cleaned up, but you'll also get the flock sealed up, and that'll help protect it. It won't help have the flock adhere to your base. You're relying on the glue for that, but your flock will get a little bit of extra protection using a spray-on varnish. So in the end, I'm going to conclude. It's a short video today. You know, you got your miniature, you got that painted up. You want to make sure that you put a coat of varnish on it. You can use brush-on varnish, but I prefer actually using the spray varnish. For sure, you want to use a matte finish. That'd be the last coat, or really the only thing that I use really is just a matte finish varnish. Just a clear coat of protection that'll help protect your miniature and give you years of wargaming and regular use and not have to worry about messing up that wonderful paint job.